joined IDE, my major research topic has been Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction. And I approach this quite big topic from a few angles. So first of all, I am very interested to understand how international engagement in Ukraine's reconstruction can succeed. Simply put, how it can become a success story. And in order to give my evidence-based answer, I conducted a study of the engagement of foreign donors in reconstructing the kindergarten in Ukraine. And that helped me to better understand what donors can expect when they engage in Ukraine's recovery, how exactly they can avoid making any mistakes on the ground, and how they can maximize the benefits of the engagement both for Ukraine and for their own constituencies, for their citizens. So this has been the major topic I've been interested in.
Thank you.
It's actually the book of my life. Simply put, I have been preparing to write in it probably during the whole period of conducting research on decentralization. Basically, the book is about decentralization in Ukraine and the effects of decentralization on politics. You see, all over the world, decentralization has been so popular, probably for a few decades by now, but not in Ukraine, up until recently. And it was very interesting for me to actually explain why it took the country so long to actually make the step towards what others have been proceeding with for so long, where the people of Ukraine actually benefited from what the government suggested them. And finally, maybe not least importantly, how actually it affected the unity of the country. You see, there is an image that the country, Ukraine, is very diverse and nearly fragile. But in reality, decentralization reform, which kind of you might expect, can actually deepen the problem unexpectedly. Just made a surprise, contributed to the cohesion of the country. And I explain why. The point is so vital now because when Russia invaded Ukraine, it became clear to so many people that the country is more united than expected. And now the job is to actually sustain this unity via domestic mechanisms, and then moving forward towards successful recovery. And that's why decentralization needs to be understood in detail, both its advantages and potential slippery slopes. It's basically another angle of this big Ukraine recovery research interest I have. You see, I am very interested to understand how sub-national authorities engage in Ukraine's recovery, both at home in Ukraine and abroad. And since I am in Japan, working here in this environment, and I have a unique chance to conduct fieldwork to basically visit the authorities here in this country, ask them questions about what problems they face, if any, what their expectations are, whether they encounter any difficulties that I can be of help. It allowed me to map those different ways how foreign Japanese sub-national authorities seek for ways to help their counterparts abroad, like in Ukraine. How they basically cooperate not only with other authorities, in the center, but also with business, with citizens, how Japanese citizens basically help to fulfill the duties jointly. Most often, prefectures and municipalities are engaged by central authorities, but there is one pathway when they take the lead. This is the case with sister relations between prefectures in Japan and abroad, or between Japanese municipalities and foreign municipalities. And here, I examined, first of all, the case of Yokohama City. Yokohama City appeared to be nearly a pioneer, in fact, a pioneer, when it comes to, let's say, initiating input of Japanese sub-national authorities into Ukraine's recovery. So they were the first ones to deliver aid to Ukraine in summer 2022, even before central authorities in Japan knew how to basically do this transportation job in a very complicated timing. So Yokohama City managed to engage with business in Yokohama, with citizenship, residents in Yokohama, in order to basically deliver the package of so vitally needed items to the twin city, Odessa. I expected, right, that if they are pioneers, they will be followed by the rest. But when I started interviewing other prefectures, other municipalities, I learned that each one apparently has its own pathway to engage in sister relations, or to follow the, let's say, the way how central authorities in Japan help Ukraine, like Hyogo Prefecture, for example. It suffered a lot from the natural disaster here in Japan. It learned how to recover from it, and it appeared to be very willing to share its facilities, medical facilities, so that Ukrainian specialists can obtain training there. But their example is absolutely different because their central agency, JICA, takes the lead. So I just map those different ways of delivering foreign aid from bottom up or top down, and identify those factors that shape this heterogeneity, in order to better explain how others can learn from this particular conjuncture of efforts. When I conducted research on reconstructing a kindergarten, I interviewed the Ukrainian stakeholders and European stakeholders online. Next, I circulated a set of queries, official kind of, to the officials in Ukraine, in order to study how they themselves, without any international help, just how Ukrainian subnational authorities help internally displaced people in Ukraine in 3 different areas, to better understand whether there is some heterogeneity or homogeneity. They responded promptly and provided pretty informative answers. When I was a schoolgirl, I thought of engaging in history studies. But apparently when I became a student, especially when I became a student in a capital city of the country, only then I realized that actually there is political science, which is a science, right? So it scientifically explains the present and how we can extrapolate what's going on today to better understand what can go on in the future. And I got so interested, I realized that, well, especially when the world is changing, and the world was changing very quickly. It was very soon after the collapse of the Soviet Union. So many things were happening at the same time. How to explain it? If you study history, you gain insights from the past. But political science, especially qualitative research, interviews, observations, just give you tools that broaden understanding so much, engage you with all resources you have in order to find the answers and to move forward with making, hopefully contributing to bringing change in the real world. I think that the best appealing factor is the research environment. IDE is probably focused on research more than you might even expect, because there is no need to teach. Researchers are provided with as many facilities, as many, let's say, tools, as many incentives to share research ideas before pursuing research, then to kind of polish up research methodology, how you actually want to conduct research, and then to maximize the delivery. So once you produced something, Institute of Development Economics will do as much as it can to help you popularize the results. And it is not an empty kind of thinking. It's the way IDE is organized internally. So there is a lot of effort invested into supporting researchers, nearly at every step. And finally, what I encountered nearly from the very first days of joining IDE was the eagerness, very sincere eagerness to actually make contribution to the real world. In fact, there are not so many Ukrainian researchers. As soon as someone comes, it becomes, let's say, a big event. There are two main pathways of bringing Ukrainian researchers to Japan. First and foremost, the Japanese funding body that supports Japanese scholars provides funding to implement projects. And Japanese scholars very often, if they conduct research on, let's say, Eastern Europe, on Ukraine, they are free to organize events and to invite Ukrainian scholars. And the second pathway is the institution that precisely studies post-communist countries, including Ukraine. It is based in Hokkaido. It's called Slavic Research Center. Both pathways are, let's say, very important, but they have a natural limitation, time frame. That's why if you think about establishing a network, you require a slightly wider time frame. That's why my network of Ukrainian researchers who have visited Japan, visit Japan, or plan to visit Japan is actually personally based, maintained. But I have a chance to, I would say, expand this network since I have joined IDE.